And let me see if I can. Yeah,
There's Jack and Mike.
we're getting there. Okay, who's got to do it? You've got to go down to the bottom left where it says start video.
Okay, I hear somebody. I hear Kathy.
Yes.
Hello, this is Rick.
Oh, the other Rick. Okay.
Rick Hopkins, yes.
Yes. Okay.
He's R1.
Yesterday's tour of William Valvanis's garden up in New York.
No.
No.
I started to look at it, but ran out of time.
Oh, well, he was on for about an hour and a half.
I watched part of it.
He has what is it, ADGT, and he's easily distracted and bounces all over the place. So yeah.
It was on Facebook. You can rewatch it.
Yes, you can. You can watch it. He has phenomenal plants.
Sure it does.
And most of his plants were all container grown. And some of them he started from seeds back in the 80s. So yeah.
Where is he located?
He's up in Rochester, New York.
In Rochester, huh?
Yeah.
Henrietta, New York.
Yeah.
Which is
Henrietta?
I guess so. He says Rochester, so that's.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you all that's up that direction get a chance to go see his layout. It's pretty phenomenal. And mostly it's maples, the Japanese maples. And he'll show you a Japanese maple in a pot that's about 2 feet tall and 3 feet across. And then he'll say, this is the same age as that tree out in the back, which is towering up over the landscape. And he says they were both put in, planted at the same time, the same size. And, he uses the big one for air layering. There's a lot of air layering. And he's got several that are like that, where you have one in a pot and one that's been put in the ground, and they're both the same age.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, and then I was interested, he talked a little bit about soils, very little, but I mean, he showed the soils that they use. He uses a large size stone for what they call bottom of the plant, and then they'll use the smaller size that I like to use as the main soil. And then they has a much finer soil for the mame and the shohin sizes, the little small ones. So he has 3 different sizes of soil. So I'm probably gonna have to start using the soil you guys use, on the bottom of the pots. And then about the same amount, he'll have akadama, lava, and one other stone, equal amounts mixed in together. And so that's what he uses. I thought that was interesting. The big stuff is great for the bottom, but if you're putting a plant in a smaller pot, you can't use big stuff. It doesn't filter down. It doesn't sift in, doesn't fill in. So if you've got a plant that's, it's pretty well established, and now you're trying to, ramify the branches, and make them smaller and twiggier, then you need the smaller size soil. That's something for us to start thinking about, I think.
Now, when you say small versus larger, what sizes are you talking about?
To me, larger is about the size of my thumbnail. Not my thumbnail, my little fingernail.
Okay.
And then the main soil would be about 1/3 of my fingernail. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. There's fingernail. Yeah.
I think the soil we've been using is kind of like half of a pinky fingernail.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good sized soil though. I mean, when I sift, you know, it sifts out. I'll save it and wash it and dry it in the sun and reuse it. But, hello?
Kathy,
Weigert's has a specialty mix that they make up. It's got akadama in it and a couple other things. And, essentially, size-wise, they're around 1/8 of an inch or so, maybe just a hair larger, and compared to anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch.
Yeah. So Weigert's is using the smaller size also then.
That's correct.
I find myself when I repot, I'll use the average, the medium size, whatever you want to call it, not the large. But I will, once I work that in, I will take a couple of my Martha Stewart scoops, you've seen them about this long, of the real fine stuff and work that in so that there aren't a lot of gaps and whatnot. So I do kind of use a blend of both. Everybody has a different soil blend that they love. And it's kind of like one guy's master said, you know, what works in your backyard works, you know, and that you work with.
so can I ask a question? I kind of got in late here, but you're saying the size of the soil affects the size of the leaves?
No,
No. What are you saying? What does the size of a soil affect?
Root growth and ability to get the nutrients out of the soil.
and your ability to put a large plant into a smaller size pot.
Oh, use smaller soil to get a large.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So if you've got a plant that's, you know, already, that's pretty well established, the trunk is where the size you want, the roots are looking great, and the branches are all where you want them. And now you're just working on keeping it that way and not letting it get bigger. Then you want to start working with the smaller size soil because you don't want huge roots going all over the place.
And I would imagine as you develop finer and finer feeder roots, they work better in a smaller soil than the bigger soil.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I've been repotting, sawing off the whole bottom of some of these ficus, which have these huge roots. So I've just been, I've got some pictures that I took of my last one, and I'll show them to you. If you would go up to your right corner and where it says speaker view, okay, if you click on that, then the person who is doing the talking comes up big, except for Rick, who's right now taking over my screen here. There we go. Okay, you see how this works?
I have nothing that says speaker view.
Me either.
Well, you might have, you got that little waffle that says gallery view. And when you
Yeah, I'm on gallery view. Yeah.
Okay. And then if you go up, after you click on gallery view, you go back again to the same spot. It says speaker view.
Oh, there. No, I see active speaker.
Uh-huh.
There you are. Now I just have you, Kath.
Well, I see you fine. You're nice and big. So anyway, what I did was to print up some pictures.
Ooh, nice.
Can you see that? All right, that was my ficus forest about 3 years ago. And it needed to be repotted.
Gorgeous.
I want you to notice the little tree right here. It's all bent over. Can you see that up close?
Yeah. Yeah, we can see it.
All right. Well, when I repotted this last time, I quite literally sawed off the whole base.
Mm,
All right. I mean, I just sawed off the whole base.
yeah.
Right down to nothing. And this is what the underside looked like. That's underneath. You see that?
I see it.
And now I've repotted it. So I was able to put it deeper into the pot. I was able to get rid of some of those large wraparound roots, which you really don't want, even though there's still some there. I can't do much about them.
So you're saying the forest came out as a lump?
It sure did. It was
Okay,
a
and then
solid lump.
And you flattened the bottom of that.
I just sawed off the whole base, yeah. Now I was able to push it back a little further in the pot, so there's more space in the front.
That negative space.
Right, you want that to kind of lead the eye in, and if you look at, established forest plantings, you're going to see a lot of space in the front or off to one side. So it's like, you have to walk across the field to get to this forest. So that's where it's at right now. I sincerely hope it survives. It might not.
It's ficus. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah. Well,
Sure.
I've done this now this is the fourth one where I quite literally sawed off, because 2 years ago I was not in any shape to be able to play games with ficus or with bonsai. And so for the past 3 years, all my ficus have just having a grand time growing all over the place. So I had to do some drastic cutting, sawed off the whole base of all of them so far. I've got one more to go. So when these two that I've got already done harden up a little bit and I can put them back outside, right now I'm nursing them and trying to take good care of them while they're still under cover here, semi-shade. When I can put them out and then I can devote some time and space to the last one, then I'll saw it all off and hopefully they'll start again.
How much rain did everybody get? We got 3 3/4 inches of rain yesterday.
Wow.
Didn't
question.
get any. Didn't get any here.
Wow.
Really?
I don't know the measurement, but we got a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
3 inches.
Yeah. So Rick was going to take us out to his yard. I think he's headed into that direction for a show and tell of his collection.
Hey, Ken, check your chat.
Check my chat. What should I do?
Almost an inch and a half here.
Yeah.
Maybe
At the
Kathy,
bottom.
Kathy can check your chat too.
Can you not hear me?
Ah, all right. What's that? What does that do? How about everyone really mute unless they're talking? Okay. Okay, but Susan asks, how about everyone mute unless they're talking? Just got to remember to turn it back on again.
One thing I really
The hosts don't
All
have
right.
to mute.
this is bonsai, giant bonsai, but ooh, see the roots? Can you see the roots coming up? Anybody?
It just showed up just now.
Yeah. So the roots are coming through there nice. So probably in a couple more weeks, I'll cut that off and put it in a pot. Otherwise, I have my vegetable garden going here. I'm busy with that. Rain tree cuttings here. And let's see. This is the Brazilian pepper that Vito air layered. And I just got through repotting it. I need to get back in here and do some more carving. This is a Bougainvillea that was a big stump, several stumps that I carved and have put that stuff on it, the lime sulfur, and use another coat of that. And it's starting to come out, and now I need to work the branches. And I don't want to get it too far away. I want to kind of leave it in here, and that's probably about it. Other bougainvilleas, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Ow. This is the literati one, which is going crazy. And there's another one. Sea hibiscus. Doing pretty good. This is an East Palatka holly. And you can see it's getting berries and little flowers and whatnot. And I'm trying to bring these down. They don't want to go. Cypress forest, doing pretty good. We have a couple different types of cypress. I got the Montezuma cypress and then the swamp cypress in there. So that's why you see a couple different colors there, I think. Various and assorted ficus. There's another one in there. It's got some nice movement to it. I always like that. Bonsai spinosa, dwarf black olive, needs some cutting back. Never really got a feel of what to do with these guys, so I'm just hoping it lives. Small buttonwood. This is a type of a privet, I believe, or what else did they tell me? Somebody told me what they thought it was. I don't know what it is. It's cute though, isn't it? Jade that I'm trying to pad out, and it's slowly but surely coming into shape. This was Vito's buttonwood that he got at one of their shows. It was a Mary Madison demo, and of course Vito, he won the raffle and he got it. And then I guess about a year before he passed, he was getting rid of some of his large stuff, and I bought it from him then. And I feel lucky that I kept it alive. We did have a drought, and my sprinkler system broke and it died back, but it has come back, so that's nice. Here's some Fuki and tea clusters that Ivan found somewhere and gave to me. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that. And here's another one of them that I've kind of, because it leans, I've been bringing it out this way and down, and it looks kind of cute. Assorted crepe myrtles, another ficus, my Elaeagnus, which I just cut back, trimmed out, thinned up on top. Elaeagnus is nice. It gets a real tiny flower, and it's like you're standing next to a jasmine vine. It's so aromatic. It's a beautiful smell. But the trunk grows very slow. I mean, it's not much of a trunk there, but it still has a nice shape. I like it. There's that boxwood that I thought I killed, but I didn't. Willow leaf ficus. Kind of looking good in here. Getting some ramification going on up in there. Nice trunk, like an elephant's foot. Sea grape we're playing with.
It is a nice trunk.
It is a nice trunk. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
I put up on the picture of the Jabata Kaba that I saw when I was delivering flowers. I don't know if everybody saw it, where the fruit was all over the trunk. This is mine. I know, it looks ill.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's not very healthy. I might just put it in the ground, because this was in the ground and it was doing great. I might try that. Trident maple I got from Bill Newbeck way back, probably before any of you guys. He was like one of the original members, and he passed in the middle of the night, and his wife sold his collection, and I picked that up. And it's never really done much. It does this. It's very smelly. Ew. This is the ew. Yes, this is the nursery. We have poincianas. We have golden rain trees, or golden shower tree. We have cotton trees going. All kinds of things. This is one of the crepe myrtles that we pulled out of my daughter's mother-in-law's house. This was Vito's at one time, this Bonsai spinosa, and he sold it, and James of our club ended up with it. And then Ivan got it from James not too long ago, because James was getting out of the business or something. I forget what the reason was. And then I ended up buying it off of Ivan. So, and I thought that it might be a decent literati, but I mean, it's really, because it was in bad shape when I got it. It's really blossomed out, and I just put it in this pot yesterday so I could have more pots for these crepe myrtles I collected. We have ilex, all kinds of nursery stuff going on here. Cypress and more cypress to fill in with. Cars that like to make a lot of noise. We have our, this was the volunteer that came up a while back. Remember, I brought that in at auction to show you what it could be. Pine trees that are growing, more cypress. Sorry about the fast move. Here's the ilex. I repotted and carved that guy out. And that's coming in pretty nice. I like the way that shape is.
You're having fun with the carving, aren't you?
Well, I'm practicing it, and I need to get a real tiny bit to really get into some of these smaller areas in here so you can put more definition into it. But I enjoy doing that, yeah. Ooh, there's a spider in there. And so that's cool.
Oh, he's a good guy.
Yeah. And this is a Chinese tallow, which is popping out. And I've got it up here. I'm going to be doing something with it, cutting it back and putting some wire on it. The ficus that I just worked on last week. Here's a large pixie Bougainvillea that isn't doing anything yet. It only went into this pot last week. And we'll keep our fingers crossed, we'll see. This is one of the Eugenias that we pulled out of my daughter's mother-in-law's house. We'll see what happens there. And then this is another crepe. This will replace the one that I lost recently. That's got a nice trunk on it. And this is the pot that Bougainvillea was in 2 days ago. Okay, we'll go down the other side, and then we have more stuff over here. We got stuff everywhere. These are cuttings from the variegated sea hibiscus we started out with. Boog cuttings, the tamarind that I got from, ooh, look at his popping out. I was surprised. I didn't think it was going to pop. Isn't that special? Looks like that little one is too. I'm so happy. Here's some sea grapes. Sea grapes, if anybody wants any when we get back, I got them. What else is in here? Some tamarins, ficus, and some just weird stuff. Just ripped out the sprinkler system. Let's see. If anybody's interested in playing with an ilex, I have a nice one here. That's got potential carving ability. I've got another one over here.
That's an ilex? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's an ilex. And that too has got a little stuff going on, but they both have potential, and I have enough ilex, I don't need it. Anybody's interested, there it is. Okay, I'll go back down the other side of the bench. I know I'm bouncing around a lot, sorry. This mimosa is what it is. It came from Ruth. For those of you who remember Ruth Arnold, that was hers at one time. I have kept it alive. My maple forest. How's that material working on your forest?
Mine? Doing fine.
Yeah. It's good stuff, isn't it?
It is good. I have, by the way, if anybody else wants to do something like that, where you need a firm barrier on a slab especially, I've got a number of thick patties of that material. It just has to be reconstituted with water, and it's good to go. It's all mixed up, but I dried them out so they wouldn't get moldy. And if you're going to do a forest on a slab where you don't have edges, I've got plenty of it, so let me know.
And it really works well. It's a combination of peat moss, sphagnum moss, and bentonite clay. And something that I read somewhere is it's best to mix it together before you wet it, which is one of those things you learn as you go forward, right?
Yeah. And wear gloves, because I'll tell you, it's gooey, glippy, yucky.
Well, not only that, but sphagnum moss can hurt you, I've been told.
Probably, yeah.
This is the ficus that Hillary had at one time, and then when she left, Paul inherited and took care of it and made it grow and look nice. And then I bought it at the auction, or won it at the auction. And this was, all just a big stump and whatnot, and I carved all this out. I did not put the lime sulfur on it because I kind of like the way it's coming through, but I see a lot of gray starting to pop out too, so I may end up going with the lime sulfur. I'm open to suggestions on that. Let's see, we had some.
Isn't ficus a soft wood?
It is kind of a soft wood, yes, but I put wood hardener on it in here, as opposed to the lime sulfur. And there are several sides that I worked on.
You can add a little India ink to the lime sulfur if you want to continue with a grayish look to it versus the stark white. You can do that.
Yeah, I've heard of doing that, and I'm not sure where I want to go with it at this point. See, I like the way we had light brown and then we had dark brown. That's what I wanted to accent, but it doesn't really seem to be doing that to a great extent. Anyway, let's see. This is my wisteria, which is popping out great, even sending up tendrils, but nary a bloom. Nary a bloom. Very disappointing. This is something that I don't know how to pronounce it, but it gets beautiful little flowers on it, lilac type flowers in a grape-like cluster. And I've just been constantly trimming it, so I probably won't get any flowers this year because I just want to get these pads going, and we'll go for flowers later. I think it's kind of nice, variegated like that. I like it. Chinese elm. This is a Simpson stopper. Another buttonwood. This is the Chinese tallow that I'm trying to windswept, and it's resisting my efforts. Let go, okay? Because it doesn't want to. It wants to grow straight up, and I don't know why I picked it. It's a dwarf powder puff. Here's a little miniature dwarf desert rose that I got from Ivan, and it's just been blooming like crazy. I don't know if the bloom booster fertilizer has helped or not, but it is. There's that. There's the mahogany that I air layered, and I need to look at that because I think that's probably getting close to time to be done too. So let's see what we have here. We have some, one side was here, it died. It didn't take it all. That might be some rootage up there. Can't really tell. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Venice says he uses the long sphagnum moss.
I got grass growing in it. Who says that?
Bill Valvanis, because he does a lot of layering.
Well, that's what this is. This is the long sphagnum moss that I wrapped it in.
Okay.
But I don't see any
more
rootage.
of it or something. Do you put the root tone?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I did all those good things.
Yeah.
Well, I just let it. I'll do a little bit of wrapping it back up a little better later.
Well, if you air layer, you're going to get a better splay out of roots versus the putting, as seed.
Yeah, because it'll root all the way around the circumference.
All the way around, right. And then you can spread them out and get them flatter, and rather than curling around each other.
This guy I just did last week. I like the way he came out too.
Is that a ficus?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is.
I'm looking at the rootage and I'm thinking, uh-oh, ficus.
Uh-huh. You recognize it, huh?
I do.
Yeah. I think it came out pretty good. We'll see. It's leafing out, starting to leaf out. Willow leaf, the rain tree, Florida privet. It's nice. And we're back to the Brazilian pepper.
Okay.
And there you have it.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
It was a nice tour. So if anybody else wants to do something like that, let me know. And we'll make sure you get a chance. You have to put, from what I was able to do, put the app onto my phone. Go to the App Store and download the Zoom app onto your phone, and then you can sign in using the same process from your email. You can sign in, and now you're far more mobile. You can walk around like Wick did, and I was thinking of doing the same thing, but I was just trying to test it and see how it goes.
Any questions about anything you saw out there? Suggestions? I'm open to constructive criticism. It doesn't bother me.
Rick, I have a
I
question.
have a question.
One at a time.
Okay. Go ahead, Gail.
Gail, you have to take the mute off. You're on.
My name's not Gail, but
Oh,
is Gail asking to?
No, I thought you were Gail.
My name's Susan.
Yeah, I know Susan.
Okay,
You sounded like Gail.
all right. Well, my question had to do with the Brazilian pepper. Is that like the hated plant that's out there all over the place?
That's the one, the invasive Brazilian pepper. Yep. I will say, when they're growing out in the wild, the robins love eating the berries and they get drunk off the berries, so that's fun. But otherwise, yeah, they're a pest.
Is there any kind of precaution that you have to use when handling it? I understand some people are allergic to that.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems. I haven't used gloves, and I suggest that you do not lick your fingers after working with it. But I have also heard that there's kind of peppery, and some people do have a reaction to it. I have not experienced that.
Yeah, we've got a great big giant one in our property here, and my husband's been hacking away at it. I wonder, I mean, how hard is it to get that out? That's pretty extensive root, isn't it?
yeah.
Yes, that's why this is air layered.
Oh, I see. So you didn't actually dig it up, you cut it? Okay, thank you.
Yep. Vito air layered it off of, he lived in an area where he bordered a canal, and they were all up and down the side of the canal. He had a big one back behind his house and air layered it. He wanted to try it, and there we are. I would say I have seen people who have them in their yards actually control the growth on them and make pretty nice trees out of them. Their movement when they grow, I mean, you can see that bark spiral as it goes up, and it makes an interesting tree. It's just a matter of cutting back the top like you would a hedge or a bush around the house.
Well, like you say, the birds love them.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard people will collect the berries for pepper.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
What are they doing? What are they doing with them?
Eating it like pepper, drying them and put them in a pepper mill.
I've seen like groups of men out there with their hats and gloves on and big bags, you know, just going around the neighborhood.
Interesting.
Huh.
For those people that didn't know Vito, he could make a beautiful bonsai out of just about anything. And that's a perfect example.
Yep.
He went out in the backyard and air layered a Brazilian pepper.
That's a fact, Jack. Well, it wasn't Jack, was it?
No, Jimmy.
I
Oh,
know.
you want to go? I got another question. That's about the ilex.
The ilex, uh-huh.
Ilex, sorry.
That's all right.
That's just the garden variety ilex.
Yes, ma'am. I pulled it out of my neighbor's yard. I believe that's where that one came from. Guy bought the house next door, and the ilex were all across the front of it. And he didn't want them. And I said, whoa, well, hold on there. Don't dig them out. Let me get my bonsai club. And I think Jack and Ivan and Jimmy, were you part of that? Or Paul? One of you guys was. And we dug all those out. And that's from there.
I have a question for Rick. You mentioned the Eliatus.
Eliagnus, yes.
How would you spell that?
Elyagns.
Elyag.
NUS.
Got it.
There's several varieties. I have it on the side of my house also. That's a different variety from what I have in the pot over there. And I purchased that somewhere, but I'm old and I can't remember where I got it from. I've had it for about 8 years or so. And it's really blossomed, filled in nicely, and I'm constantly cutting it back because it grows like crazy. And I'm probably due to repot it pretty soon too, but I need to finish up my ficus, and I haven't even started my Bougainvillea repotting yet.
Thanks.
Anything else? Anybody else?
I have a question on boxwood. Is it too late to repot a boxwood?
Good question. Let me get my tropical books out and I'll let you know.
All right, well, he's gone. I've downloaded the upgrade for the Zoom for this month, which means we have unlimited minutes. So, you know, we can use the time if we want to do other stuff, do a repotting maybe online. I mean, we can do a number of things. We have unlimited minutes at this point for at least this month. We'll see how it goes. I haven't heard anything about Howard Avenue. I don't know if anybody else has, but they are kind of talking about, you know, the fields, opening up fields. But I doubt very much if they're going to be opening up the main building for quite some time. We could perhaps do something where everybody brings a chair and a table and a plant to work on, and we could sit in the parking lot. We can do something like that if we wanted to get together, or at somebody's house. We can do something like that.
I need to make a correction, if I may.
You may.
Whoever asked me how to spell Eleagnis, I spelled it incorrectly.
Okay.
I forget stuff. E-L-A-E Agnus, A-G-N-U-S. So there's no Y in it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Nice background there. Is that your boat, Jim? Is that your boat, Jim?
That's my boat, about 2 weeks ago at Boca Grande.
Did you catch anything?
Oh, we caught a ton of fish, yes.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Nice boat.
Boca Grande, went pretty far for fishing, Anthony. I thought you were back in Virginia.
Oh, I am now. I am now.
Well, I'm not sure if I make this work. If I switch this around, come on. I'm tapping on it and it's not working. There we go.
What are you trying to do?
I was going to show you what I was doing.
Okay.
And it keeps going away because, there we go. All right. Again, I'm not as extensive as Rick or some of the other members, but I had a corner that I put up some blocks, and then I changed it over to this shelf system. So I am trying to learn and keep active with it and do stuff since we're not able to get together. And that's what I have so far.
Hey, Rick.
And I was amazed. Pardon?
You're trying to get Rick to go to mute. Every time he turns a page, he flashes up.
Oh,
sorry.
I was amazed at how tall this is getting. And I had my forest, but I had an even number in the forest. So I moved one of the trees by itself, and this is what it's doing. To me, it looks like it's doing great. I can't wait till we get together so you can direct me as to how to trim these down and when the proper time is for all that. But anyway, this is what I've been doing. I just redid my little garden area during this time we had to stay at home. So I'm going to turn it back around again and give it back to somebody else, I think.
I think one of the things you can do on that cypress, that's lone cypress,
yes.
You've got what appears to be two tops coming up.
Yes.
Cut one of them off. We cut the stronger one off, leave the weaker one to become the new top.
Cut the stronger one off, leave the weaker one.
Leave the weaker one because you want it. You don't want a big tall tree.
Right.
right? You want, the smaller size. And at some point, you might even cut the top of that, the new top off and allow another one to start, gradually shorten it down that way.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
You can start looking at your others and say, aha, I see two tops coming up. One has to go.
Yeah. See, we've got a couple of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing well, though. They're doing really well.
I think so for for someone who's not done this very much. I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. They're looking good.
I even have lettuce growing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I had to put something on my table, So.
To justify it with your wife, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now somebody else can have it.
Anybody else want to join in? Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Jim, is that a big fish?
Yes, that came out of the Peace River, though.
Wow.
The day before we left for Virginia.
Snook?
Nope, that's a largemouth bass.
Ooh, did you keep him?
Oh, no.
No?
I let them all go back.
Yeah.
So
He
they
would
grow
have
up
been
and get big.
tasty. He would have been tasty. Anybody else want to chime in?
I'd like to ask a question about the Bougainvillea. Can I exfoliate that? I'll take all the leaves off that are all eaten up by the bugs.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And nobody knows what I'm supposed to spray it with, huh?
An insecticide.
I sent you a link in chat.
Oh, you're going to send it to me?
It's in chat. It's
Yeah,
BT.
I'll look it up, Ken, and I'll tell you what they recommend for caterpillars.
Okay, I've been using that granulated stuff that it's supposed to last a year, and it's BONNINIDE, that whatever that stuff is called. Anyway, it's an insect killer, and it works. It worked great for me in Iowa. I could kill anything in Iowa with it. But it's a systemic, and so I put that on there. But
I think that will work. I think caterpillars are listed on that.
Okay.
Bonide 3-in-1, right?
Yeah, right.
I think caterpillars are listed on it.
Anything that's eating your plant will eat it. Valvanus uses a systemic. He also uses a spray occasionally. So yeah, he listed a couple of them that he uses.
Would 3-in-1 work? The bear?
Yeah.
Probably. It's an insecticide? Yeah. You might spray it a little bit on one side of the plant to see if it's going to hurt the plant. Some insecticides might be too strong.
I think it's a granule.
If they're selling it in Florida, it's probably going to be fine.
it's granulated. So it goes, you put it on the soil and then you water it in.
Yeah, I would think it would be fine.
Okay, I did it. I mean, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
I had two different conversations with chemists. One was from that BONIDE company, and I don't recall what the other one was. But in both cases, they didn't recommend, where bonsai plants were concerned and bonsai soil, they didn't recommend systemic materials, mainly because of the fact that the systemic stuff is usually very fine and it'll wash right through. Both of them stated the idea of the systemic is that it that remain in the soil for a period of time and gradually dilute and wash through the soil itself. So I started, at that point, I started using topical stuff instead of the other.
Yeah, but they also have a spray that's systemic, and that won't happen.
where you're as opposed to
They're
putting
granular.
material on the soil.
Yeah, they have the
that
spread.
liquid stuff,
Yep,
yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Plus, I think granular, if it's worked into the soil, it's a slow release, so it continuously releases.
Well, she said that if you're using a potting soil or anything like that, it's fine. Anything that'll slow down the stuff passing through the material.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Interesting point.
The other thing is the caterpillars don't last that long. I mean, they're seasonal. You know, cut off the bad leaves. I mean, they got to eat, you know. Cut off the bad leaves and press on. You're not going to kill, it's not going to kill the Bougainvillea.
Well, do they remain in the plant, or do they on a daily basis come into the plant and then leave the plant?
And do they become a nice butterfly? Do
That's,
you really want to kill them?
I've heard that they're there in the evening or at night. So are they in the soil during the day, or where are they at that point?
Probably somewhere out of the sun.
They said they hide. They hide it in the plant, but I've been looking all over that plant and I can't find, because they're about an inch long and they're kind of 1/4 inch thick, so they're not.
And they're coming from somewhere else. Maybe your stands that you're sitting them on.
I read that they get against a limb and they during the day, and they just flatten out and stay there, and then come out to eat at night.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
I don't
me
think
too.
that's true, but it makes sense to me.
I read that in something the other night.
They also said that in many cases that they're almost like those insects that you really can't see the insect because it's so well camouflaged against its surroundings.
What if you put your whole pot in water so that any insects that are down in the soil have to come up for air? And maybe you can spot them that way if they're in the pot.
Well, 3-in-1, the way they recommend is spray the top of the leaves, spray the underside of the leaves, and make sure that a good deal of the stuff goes into the soil as well. They say water or spray the foliage enough so that there's plenty of stuff that drips into the soil. So I assume that the idea is also to work on the soil itself.
Huh. Could you mix?
Bare 3-in-1 that I was using, and it worked fine. I had to do 2 applications, but it worked fine. I did them about a week apart.
If you use those tea bags for fertilizer, I wonder if you mix those granules into the fertilizer in the tea bag. You know, when you place the tea bags around and then water just a little bit at a time goes down into the soil.
That's a wonderful idea.
Thank you.
The Admiration Society.
Well, that's what we're here for, you know.
You actually use a tea bag?
Well, there are things you can buy tea bags online. You get about 1,000 for $5.
I bought some Muslim tea bags, or those cotton tea bags, and they sell them.
Yeah.
Those
I have
seem
them
nice.
with the little drawstrings.
Yeah.
You know, but you've got to get tea bags that aren't going to disintegrate too quickly. Some of them will disintegrate fast, and some of them hang around.
But this is actually a tea bag for drinking.
Yeah, you could use them for that. But you know, you fill them with your organic fertilizer, and you pin them on the top of the soil.
Okay.
Especially in the summer when it's raining every day. And I like to use a fertilizer in the water that I water them with. But in the summer, you know, that just gets washed right through and doesn't hang around.
Make sure you anchor those tea bags down with a large toothpick or something. The squirrels love them.
The squirrels and the birds have a especially the ones with the strings. they go off with those strings and the tea bag hanging off below it. Yeah. I suppose if you've got strings, you can tie them around the trunk.
Ken, you could try the fertilizer baskets too for the chemicals.
Yeah,
Try
do
one or
that.
two and see what happens there.
There's a
Good idea.
package of them at the club because I brought in a package of them, bag of them. I wasn't using them. Maybe I will. All right, is this Rick? We're looking outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my tea bag I was showing you.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Show it again.
This is in Patty's clovers.
Okay, we see an empty chair.
You don't see the tea bag?
Make some more noise. Because right now, I think. All right, who's making all the noise?
It's Victor.
Yeah, the one who has the highest volume is the one whose picture we see.
Well, I've got my neighbors mowing
There
his
we go.
lawn also.
There we go. Now we're back to you.
I'll go
I
mute.
can mute anybody. I've just discovered that. I can go down the line and mute everybody.
There you go.
There you go. Talk about power.
Yeah, it's all about the power.
Oop, here he goes. Unmute.
These are those cotton tea bags I was telling you about.
Oh,
They
the
shouldn't
cotton
break
one.
down at all. And you can buy them by the hundreds online.
Uh-huh. And reuse them if you really,
And
really.
reuse them, yeah.
All right. All right. Unmute. Come on.
You want me to do what?
Say that again, Rick.
Did you ask me something? I was
No, you
muting.
were on mute. You were on mute for some reason.
Well, because my neighbor is mowing his lawn, and I thought that was going to overpower.
Okay.
So, but those
Rick,
are my
were you
Huh?
able to find out anything about the boxwood repotting?
No, sir. I went to both issues of the
Okay.
tropical, and they didn't have boxwood at all.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's not really a tropical, and I kind of thought about that as I was beginning. Yeah, I just want to Google it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to say at this point?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I went to the flea masters the other day, and they had a man was selling some plants there, and he had like a 6 foot, maybe 7 foot little red poinsettia tree there, and it was just real scraggly and skinny, and he had to prop it up because it was falling over. But could I buy that and cut that about a foot tall? Will it leaf out? If I cut it off, and will it leaf out? Talk to me.
Try it.
It was
You
only
probably
15
will.
bucks, and I was sorry I didn't buy it.
Let us know how it works.
But can you just chop that off that low? Will it leaf out again?
I would think so. It's a tropical, and tropicals are good for that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't guarantee it, but I would think your chances are good.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Paul, you have an
The
experience on that?
the ones I raised from seed, I kept topping, and they kept branching out.
Yeah.
So that's all I can. But they were only like about 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall when I topped them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I topped that one you gave me, that yellow one. I
Yeah.
topped it, and it keeps coming back.
Yeah, that was my experience with them too.
This thing was 6 feet tall. Maybe I should air layer the top of it first and then chop it.
There.
Okay. I gotta go, so I'm gonna sign off, okay?
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
Bye.
for your words of wisdom.
So next time, next week, same time? Is
Play
that
the darts for me.
What'd you
Okay.
say?
Say hi to darts for me.
She's watering your plants every day. We got 3 inches of rain last night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
So we'll meet next week, same time? Does that sound all right?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Okay, remember, if there's something you want to talk about, you've got a plant that you want to, have us analyze and give you all kinds of wonderful information and advice, have it handy. If you can get a plain background so that we can see it without, a lot of interference, that would be good. If you had some, magic hankies available so that we could talk about, take that branch off, or no, not that one, the other one, that kind of thing. That kind of stuff, we could do stuff like that. All right. So if you're in the process of trying to figure out what to do with a plant or a couple of them, have them handy. And we'll see what we can do. Okay?
Okey doke.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to end this meeting.
Okay.
Thanks all.
Have a good week.
Bye, all.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.